Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I let M1 do the stock picks based upon my current allocations. And what I've done is, and I do this usually every Monday morning, is I deposit $100. And then, like I said, based upon the allocations that I have, we can see down here what I have for my 3 slices and what the actual and target is. So we can see pretty much it's going to go into the ETFs to $100. But before we get into that, we'll just take a look at the performance of the portfolio. This is my Average Joe Dividends portfolio, and this is about 15% of my current net worth. And right now in the holdings tab, I'll click there and show you. Right now there are 52 positions. You can see my cost basis, the value of the portfolio, which is changing because it's in real time. This is Monday morning with the markets just opening. We can see the top position is SCHD. We'll scroll down so you can get an idea of what's in my portfolio. I'll also leave a link below so you can see what my allocations are as well. We can see it's just household names, really, like Coca-Cola and JP Morgan, Hershey's, things like that. But the vast majority of the portfolio is in SCHD, which is an ETF. It's very popular. I'm sure most of you know what this consists of. I've done videos on SCHD as well, and many others in the community have as well. So back to the portfolio page here real quick. We can see just over the last year, we've had a return of 22.56%. And we can see the dividends earned over the last 12 months at $11,011.39. We'll go to 3 months. We'll see how the performance was, up 6.23%. We'll see over the last month, we're up 2.66%. Look at the last week, and up 1.18%. So even though we had, remember that dip, I think a lot of people were panicking, and it's recovered and some, because I have not had the portfolio over $260,000. And you look at my thumbnail, and I've got the portfolio at $250,000, but it wasn't long ago where I was in the 240s. But you can see just today we're up 0.41%. I'll show you kind of like the low points. See, I was at 242 not long ago. Go back here, even in the 230s back in May, but now we're into 260 territory. So pretty exciting to see how the market's kind of moved up, but we never know what's going to happen in the future. We could have a 10% correction or even more, and that's to be expected with it's a bumpy ride in the stock market. So let's go to the activity log. We can see that one buy, which is no surprise to me, of course, because based on the allocations again in the ETFs, that was underweighted. So we'll click and see what I'm buying and what I bought here. And it was SCHD again, I believe last week, same thing. So with the share price being up, it probably bought me a little bit less as far as quantities, so not quite 1.2 shares of SCHD. And let me know in the comments below if you own SCHD and what you think about that ETF. I'm sure probably most of you, or maybe at least half of you, own SCHD. I think it's a great long-term investment, but of course what I'm investing in is not investment advice. So let's go ahead and jump over to my Google Docs spreadsheet. We're going to see what this did to my dividend income. I'm going to walk you through the sheet real quick, and I'll leave a link below to this Google Docs spreadsheet. And I think it's very, it works well as far as tracking your stocks and your dividends. You don't have to use an app. You don't have to keep on logging into M1 or your stock brokerage, because as long as you have the number of shares updated and also what you're invested in, it can update for you automatically. Of course, you'll have to put in your own stocks for it to work. But you can see here it has the company ticker symbol, the share price, using a simple Google finance function, and it pulls that up automatically. And then the share price, that's the average share price I should say, is pulling from a VLOOKUP in the M1 data tab, and we're going to get more into that in just a second. Same with the shares, that's using a VLOOKUP in the M1 data tab. We're going to paste the new information into the M1 data tab because the number of shares for SCHD have changed since I bought 1.2 shares almost, and so that's going to affect SCHD right here. It's going to add the number of shares, and it's also going to change the average share price very slightly, as well as my cost basis, and it's also going to change the next dividend as well. But you can see here, here's the cost basis, my gain or loss in each position, and we'll kind of hone in on SCHD because that's where I bought the shares. You can see here's my gain or loss with SCHD. Here's the gain or loss percentage, and here's the dividends paid per share, and this is quarterly, and I have this highlighted in purple because every quarter SCHD announces a new quarterly dividend. When something like Coca-Cola, it's going to be the same every single quarter except for when they announce their new dividend in February. And for Coca-Cola, for decades upon decades, it's been going up, and I don't see this changing in February 2025. It's just going to be above 50 cents. But in the case of SCHD, and this is why I don't mind loading up on it, because I think the next dividend is going to be lower. So this is going to help cushion the blow by having more shares, more of a multiplier of shares times the new dividend, which could be below 80 cents, probably in the 70s. We'll see. If it's in the 80s, I will be ecstatic, but I'm not predicting it though. Maybe I'm a pessimist with that, but we'll see what happens. You can see the current yield, and here's the yield on my cost, over 4.5% with SCHD, and here's the dividend pay date, and this is going to pay at the end of September, likely in the fourth week of September. This was an anomaly where SCHD paid in July, and here is the next dividend. That's if the share price remains, the quarterly dividend remains the same. The share price doesn't affect the dividend payout whatsoever. But I've put the 969.58 in there. We're going to see this slightly go up as I paste in that new data, which is going to have the 1.19 shares of SCHD added. And we can see here the dividends that have been paid to me by each investment. Here's the last increase. It's about a 4% increase year over year from 2022 to 2023. We'll see what the change is from 2023 to 2024. And we'll go down here. We'll see, here's the dividends that have been paid to me so far in the month of August. Everything in this sheet is arranged by the pay date, so I'll just show you really quickly. So far 158.12, but here is what's remaining to pay is KKR, Starbucks, and then the big one will be BST. Let's scroll down here. Here is the current market value. Again, this is live, so we're going to see this change. Here's my cost basis. Here's my gain or loss with the whole portfolio. Here is the average yield of everything in the portfolio. Here's my average yield on cost. And we can see here's the cash flow. This is pretty much the paycheck, so to speak. Here is my monthly paycheck right now. It's at $1,005.79. We're going to see this go up, as well as the quarterly and annual. And we're going to take the new monthly over to the monthly average dividend tracking tab. But first I have to paste in the information, which I'm going to grab over here. I'm going to go back to the holdings tab. And normally what I do is I grab everything and just go down. But in this case, since it's SCHD, I probably don't have to grab anything else but this. But just out of habit, I can grab everything. But since the others have not changed, it's only going to change what's been changed, which is the SCHD portion of it. We'll go to the M1 data tab. Do a pay special. Values only, and it's really going to change just these three items because this is SCHD. On top, it changed the number of shares, my cost basis, and the average share price that I have bought at. So those are the three things that really only changed. Everything else has remained the same. So we'll scroll up to where SCHD is, and if we get that same 82 cents per share, which I'm betting we don't, it would be, the new dividend would be 970.57, and here is what the old was, the 969.58. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to take a look and see how that affected the monthly cash flow average. So it went from 1,579 to the new 1,612. So we're going to carry over the 1,612 to the monthly average dividend tracking tab. Scroll all the way down. 1,612. I'll have to memorize that before I forget it after scrolling all the way to the bottom here. And I put an entry in here anytime I do a deposit, anytime there's a dividend drip, and also as well as dividend increases or even dividend decreases, which do happen. So we can see here's the difference from my last $100 deposit and then today. And it all depends on what I'm buying. Today was FCHD, and with the market going up, the change in monthly income was probably also affected as well, maybe a penny less than what it would have been, a week or two ago. So it added 33 cents additional to my monthly income. And remember, this stacks on top of everything else. It's not just a one-time. I'm not getting 33 cents more just this month or the next month. It's every month going forward. So it's important to really look at that. So broke over the 1,005 to 1,006. So it keeps going up, and you can see these are all the entries so far for the month of August with these events. And so I've added to my monthly income an additional $7.18 just in August 2024. So again, this just keeps stacking on. I'm going to show you where I track that too, the Dividend Tracker tab. We're going to go over what this tracks, and it's by month. You can see January 2021, this is when I started doing these videos. Here's the portfolio value, $18,700. Here are the dividends paid to me in that month, and we're just going to go fast forward to more recent times here in 2024, and we can see here's the 158.12 that's been paid out so far. Here's the portfolio value in nearest $100 for August 2024. You can see how that's gone up, and you can see here's the total dividends for last month in July of over $1,500 in dividends that were paid to me. We can see here's the 1,612 and the average monthly dividend. We can see how that has gone way up, and we've crossed the $1,000 per month in dividends, which to me is very exciting because I don't know of anyone who couldn't use an extra $1,000. Right now, though, what I'm doing is I'm dripping that back into the portfolio, right back into the stocks that paid those dividends. So it's just increasing them, over and over. Even if I started taking the dividends out, my dividends are still going to go up because of the most of the companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Home Depot, them raising their dividend every single year. So I'm not at that point right now, but I will eventually get there. I'm going to put the $100 deposit in there, so we're up to $700 of deposits so far in August. So you can see I'm not really depositing that much over the last, it's been a couple of years almost. I did have some equity in a home I no longer own, and that's what that is about, those large deposits. But from here on out, though, I'm scaling back and just really letting the portfolio do the heavy lifting for me with those dividend drips. And you can see even with that, which is $200 a week, what it's still doing and how much momentum it's carrying. So you can see right here with the monthly increase of 718, a month over month gain of 0.72, and then the annual dividends at over $12,000. And I've increased the annual dividends by 86.12 just in the month. This is just for August alone. Again, here's the deposits. So to close out the video, we're going to go to my total net worth. Again, my dividend portfolio, that's only 15% of my total net worth. I know some people will be a little bit critical of why do you have individual stocks in your portfolio, and the reason is I have kind of guardrails put up, and you can see what these are. With my Vanguard account, I have a large IRA here, and it consists of boring ETFs, a small Roth brokerage here as well in a international ETF, and you can see I have a taxable stock brokerage account over at Vanguard, which is mostly VU and VTSAX and VXUS. And then here's my current employer, my 401k. I've been with them since March of 2020 and approaching that $100,000 mark, and I don't even max out my 401k. And then here at M1, this is from my prior employers. This is consolidated over here at over $673,000 in a traditional IRA. And then here is the dividend portfolio, which again is mostly SCHD at the 260. And then M1, I've been building up M1 savings because M1 pays 5% interest. So I've been moving some money from my Synchrony account, which has what represents pretty much 1 year of expenses over there. And that's getting 4.65%. It's not quite as good as the M1, but I like to kind of have my money, not in one place. So having it at Synchrony to me is a good idea. And then in Capital One, here's my short-term savings of kind of like 2 months, expenses approximately, and $8,200 over there in savings. Here is the value of my home. Just own a simple home, a 3-bed, 2-bath, split level, nothing fancy. And then here's my liabilities here's my current balance on my main credit card that gets 2% cash back. And this is the current balance, but I don't carry a balance. So I'm going to pay this off before it's due, so I do not accrue any interest there. Here is my debt, my house. Here's my mortgage at 6.25%, and I'm going to be paying this off sooner than later. I like to get rid of that. Total net worth crossed over the $1.7 million threshold, but who knows what can happen in the markets. I could be back into 1.6 really quickly, just with a quick correction. But here at stocks, you can see I'm heavily invested in stocks. Here's my home equity at less than 8%. Here's my cash right about 5%. And then here is the breakdown between pre-tax retirement, and this is after tax of things I actually have access to. And I think a lot of people have way too much either in their home equity or in pre-tax stuff like their 401k, and you really can't tap that to help you out. If you have an issue or want to take a pivot or do something else in your life, you're kind of stuck in most cases, and most Americans are. And I encourage you to have an after-tax brokerage account, or have a nice emergency fund that allows you freedom and flexibility. And we can see the breakdown is mostly U.S. So that's all I had to show you guys. And again, what I bought was no surprise, it was SCHD, and it was just under 1.2 shares. So let me know in the comments below what you're buying this week and what you think about my addition of that 1.19331 shares of SCHD. Thanks everybody for sticking to the end of this video. Please click the like button if you got value from it. Also subscribe so you do not miss future videos. At the end of this week, Thursday or Friday, whenever time permits, I'll do another video where I pick 5 stocks and I divide my $100 deposit into $20 into each of those. And I also do a recap video of my total dividends and showing you proof that I've received those dividends, where we go into the accounts and I show you line by line where I've received those dividends, showing you the proof. A lot of YouTubers don't show you that. They'll just show you the spreadsheet of what they've received, but who knows if that's actual or factual. So thanks again, everybody. I hope everyone has a great week, and everybody take care.